Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. We are live from your hometown, Oskaloosa HyVee. I'm Emery Songer for another edition of the HyVee Homestretch, a jam-packed show for you once again as we are in between the summer and fall seasons. A guy who doesn't get an off season is the store director here at HyVee, Cleet Yorth. Cleet, how's it going?
Awesome. How you doing tonight?
Doing fantastic, and I have thoroughly enjoyed tonight's dinner. Do you want to tell the folks what they're missing out on?
Yeah, well, since you can vouch for it, I'll go ahead and tell everybody we're doing a pulled pork sandwich, baked beans, coleslaw for only $6. And it's not like some little dainty pulled pork sandwich. It's a big sandwich, fill you up. It's only $6, so we're serving it for another hour. You can grab it to go or dine in.
Well, Cleet, I can tell you that when I saw the bun open up as I was getting served, this is a sandwich. This is a big sandwich. So I enjoyed it. $6 worth, absolutely. But if people like to save money, that's not the only way they can save money here at your hometown, Oskaloosa HyVee. New month, what kind of deals do you have?
That's right. So this month we've got sizzling savings. So people have been loving our month-long specials all summer long. So this month we have 7 deals for folks. So to start it off, we have 2.5-pound bags of frozen chicken breasts. It's only $2.99 a bag. So that's hotter than a 2-day sale price, but we're going to do it all month long. We also have whole boneless pork loins, $1.39 a pound, which is 20 or 30 cents lower than we've been running them all summer. We're going to do it for the whole month, and we'll even cut it and wrap it for free. We also have candy cantaloupe. It's one of the sweetest, best cantaloupe you can find, 88 cents. We've got bottles of Powerade, only 48 cents. Charmin Essentials bath tissue, Bounty Basic paper towels, only $2.99 for those. Doritos, $1.48 a bag, everybody's favorite, but at $1.48, that's again 2-day sale price for the entire month. And then lastly, we have 30 packs of Natural Light for only $13.99.
You just hit every possible demographic you possibly can with these deals.
All your food groups.
And somehow you find a way to remember all that before you come onto the show. Besides that, you're trying to also remember a nice little sale you have coming up this weekend.
Yeah, so it started today and it's good through Saturday. We've got tons of great deals. People can look in the shopper, look on our Facebook page for these deals. But the kind of the highlight of it is a fuel saver special we've got going on. So for every $50 you spend, you're going to save 25 cents a gallon on fuel. So it's one of those, you just come in and stock up. The more items you purchase, the more you can save on fuel. And year to date, we've saved our shoppers over $160,000 on fuel.
How do you keep track of that?
I got a little report. Computers.
I mean, this guy's trying to save Oskaloosa and Mahaska County all the money they possibly can. So with that being said, every Thursday we have these little dinners.
That's right.
What's going to be next week?
Well, we're bringing one back that we haven't done for a while. Just the other day, somebody was asking me, when are you going to do steak again? And I said, well, how about next week? So next week we're going to have an 8-ounce New York strip, a huge baked potato, green beans or corn, and a dinner roll for only $8.
I'm a big fan of those jumbo baked potatoes, I can tell you that.
They're huge, big as your head.
Yeah, no, maybe even a little bit bigger. I'm not sure. Anywho, awesome stuff, Cleet. Can't wait to enjoy that. I won't be seeing you next week, but I'll see you sometime, I'm sure. Yeah. It'll be tough without you.
I bet it'll be on a Thursday next time we see each other.
Next time we see each other, probably a Thursday. I'll have to cope without seeing you for the next couple weeks, but you know, happy trails, and we shall see each other again very soon.
All right, take it easy.
All right, that's Cleet Yorth, your store director here at your hometown Oskaloosa HyVee. We got a full show for you. We're going to talk a lot of football, some cross country as well. Our first guest of the evening, William Penn University football coach Todd Hafner. He joins me next on the HyVee Homestretch on the No Coast Network.
It's HyVee's 99-cent back-to-school sale. Get Crayola markers, crayons, or colored pencils, just 99 cents. Elmer's school glue, just 99 cents. Post-it notes, just 99 cents. Sharpies or highlighters, just 99 cents. Pens, pencils, and pencil boxes are just 99 cents. And notebook paper is just 99 cents. Plus, get notebooks for 50 cents. 2-pocket portfolios for 20 cents. And scissors for just 49 cents. Don't miss HyVee's back-to-school sale going on now. If you like to save money and save time, then this is what you'd call a really big deal. HyVeeDeals.com is where you'll find hundreds of deals, all on one mobile-friendly website. HyVeeDeals.com makes saving money easy with digital coupons, weekly ads, fuel savers, and more. For one-stop savings, start here. Get all the latest deals at HyVeeDeals.com today.
Welcome back. We are live from your hometown, Oskaloosa HyVee, for the HyVee Homestretch. Emery Songer joined by head football coach, William Penn University, Todd Hafner. Coach, how's it going?
Hey, thank you. Very good. And doing great. Thanks.
Okay, so I like talking to you about football.
I like talking football.
You like coaching football as well.
I do.
You like winning football games. This is August 3rd, and your first game is August 26th. It's not too far away. Kids are going to be coming very soon.
Yep.
Let's just see where we are timeline-wise. Where's the preparation for you and your staff, and what exact dates are you going to be expecting the kids to come back, and when does practice start?
Well, our kids come back Saturday, so they come back in 2 days. This last week, the coaches have just been doing any last-minute things that we needed to tie up loose ends and make sure we have all the information to the kids that they need to check in their dorm and things like that. So this is just a tie up the loose ends week. Saturday, our kids get here, they check in the dorm. We have a new player meeting on Saturday night to get them kind of acquainted with what we're doing, what our expectations are, what the expectations are in the dorms. And then just to give them a schedule for what's coming up. And Sunday, our upperclassmen report, and we look forward to seeing those guys. It's you know, when you see the new guys, you get to know them. You reintroduce yourself from recruiting and things like that. But the new guys, you give them hugs. I mean, it's fun to be back, and it's football season again. And then our first practice is Monday night out at the stadium. All of our practices are open to the public, so we'll start at 6:30 Monday night with a whole new crew.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. William Penn football, when I first showed up in 2009, I'd probably tell this story every time you're on the program. But, you know, I got to think, William Penn goes 6-5, and for the first time since the 70s had back-to-back winning seasons. Well, I think you've had all of one losing season.
It was 7-5, by the way. You keep saying 6-5, and I told myself, if you say it tonight, I'm finally going to correct you. That 2009, we were 7-5. They let us play an extra game that year, so we won't get it wrong anymore, will we?
I stand corrected.
I'm disappointed in you because you know everything.
I try my best, but all right. Well, anyways, 7-5.
All right, good.
You won 7 more games last year.
Yeah.
Like I said, you've only had one losing season since then. This has turned into a program that it is 100%. The expectation is we are winning football games, winning a lot of football games, and we're going to compete for a trip to the playoffs, which you've been dangerously close a couple times, did make it once, and this team looking to try to make it again. You've been in the rankings of top 25 pretty much at least once every season since 2009. So, Coach Hafner, now as we sit with the 2017 season about to begin right in front of us, what is your take on the state of this program from where it was back when you just started this nice run of success the last 8 or 9 years versus where it was maybe when you first showed up about 15 years ago?
Well, at that point in time, we were still trying to build expectation. You know, we were still trying to build the foundation so we could win every single year. You know, in 2008 we went 7-4, and in 2009, like you said, you know, that was our first back-to-back winning season, and then really broke through in 2010. Went 10-1. Should have been in the playoffs and weren't, and so it was one of those things where that year we started to build. Now the expectation is we expect to not only have winning season, but we expect to compete for conference championships and playoff berths, and if we don't, then it's disappointing. So and we've talked about this before, but you know, some people shy away from expectation, but our coaching staff and our university and our kids don't. And I think that's the fun part about it is our kids are going to show up on Saturday and Sunday, and they're going to expect to go win 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 15 games, and that's the fun part about coaching them is they're going to go to practice every day trying to accomplish those goals.
This team has grown in size. I was a graduate assistant for a year plus and working in the sports information department. Wade Steinlage, the sports information director, kind of tasked me with trying to go back in the archives, William Penn football, to try to put some records together. And I got a chance to kind of look back a little bit closer than some people might have liked to those 90s teams, you know,
right.
That just really struggled to win football games. And it was 50 different guys every year. Every year, nobody was coming back. There was no sense of, you know, trying to build something. this program now has a ton of kids. We talk about you recruit 50 plus kids a year, and of those, if 35 can stick and you can find good roles for them by the time they're seniors, this program will never have a situation where it's going to have to worry about plugging holes.
Right.
That being said, you're still looking for quality players. You've gotten a lot of quality players for this class. What are your expectations for the class of 2017?
Well, I think, as far as the freshmen in this class are concerned, you never really know until you get them on the field, and you can watch film. You know that a lot of the kids that we've recruited have had success, either individual success or team success, or obviously both. And so until you get them on the field and you can kind of put your stamp on them, see how they fit in with the other guys on the team, it's kind of hard to tell that until they get here. Some of the junior college kids, there are a little bit higher expectation on them to maybe come in and contribute right away, and they've played the college game before. They know the speed of the game. They know the competition, how you have to prepare week in and week out. And then our kids, we're going to have 90-some kids from last year's team come back, and we're excited about that group of kids, plus the kids that we may have signed a semester, maybe that just got here this summer. Combine that with a 60 or 65 football player recruiting class that's going to be here tomorrow or Saturday, and I mean there's excitement around our coaches' offices right now, and we feel that if this team can gel like last year's team did, there will probably be more talent on this year's team in general than we've had probably in a long time.
The Hafner name means a lot to William Penn University football. You've added a Hafner back into the family and the coaching ranks. For the third straight year, you're going to have a third different offensive coordinator, but there's no secret to what William Penn's trying to do offensively. Now, personnel might be a little tricky at some of your skill position spots, but in terms of that kind of turnover, I know that's not ideal for you guys, but knowing the system will not be changing, how has that adjustment been, not for only for the coaching staff, but for the players the last few years?
Well, there's always peace of mind knowing going into the season you're going to be doing something that you've done, for 2, 3, 4, in some cases 5 years. Coming in, the kids that have been here are obviously going to have the upper hand, but it's one of those situations where if the talent can learn the system, then there'll be some situations where we may have kids that started for us last year or played significant minutes get beat out by someone that may be a little bit more talented. But it's for us and kind of a staple for our program is we're very loyal to the kids that have been here since day one, and we tell our junior college kids and even our freshmen, unless you're by far better than someone that's been here, we're going to be loyal to the person that's been here. And so and that gives some of our kids peace of mind. And so, with that said, if they get beat out, they get beat out, and they understand the situation that it took someone clearly to beat them out in order for them to take their job. And if that happens, typically we've upgraded in talent, and we'll feel really good about that come Saturday afternoons.
With Tyler Hafner on the staff, Tyler was quarterback. He was a great quarterback his senior year especially. That seems to be one of the biggest question marks of your team heading into camp is who's going to be that starting quarterback. Eric Cooper was the starter from week 1 and ended up suffering an injury. And Van Parker, who converted wide receiver, who had some reps in previous stints in other schools, whether high school or whatever, was able to use his athleticism and turned out to be a very good option quarterback for you guys last year. And Van's no longer here due to graduation, but Eric does come back. I'm sure you're going to want that to be a competitive situation going into camp. So what could you tell us before the kids even get here, what you're looking for and who you hope to be your starting quarterback in 2017?
Well, Eric's been here all summer, and so we've been very honest about that situation with him. We've recruited a couple quarterbacks that we feel could come in and potentially win the job. I think it would be a disservice to Eric if we didn't say that going into it, you're going to take the snaps with the number 1 until someone either beats you out or we feel we need to give someone else a shot. Tyler Wood was here with us in the spring. He's from Newton, Iowa, probably one of the top 5 athletes on our team. Tyler Matter of fact, Tyler's even going to play basketball for our men's basketball team this coming season. So he's going to dual sport it at this level, and so that kind of gives you an idea about how talented Tyler is. So he's obviously been in our system. He knows. We recruited a young man out of Eastern Arizona Community College named Jonathan Thomas that ran our offense at junior college. Is a fantastic athlete. Gavin Hurd is a young man from Salt Lake City East High School that has run the offense. Alec Crehan's another one. I mean, we did the quarterback depth chart this morning, as a matter of fact, and you know, there are 4 or 5 guys that could all be starters in our offense, and so you know, sometimes that creates issues. For us, we see competition, and we see guys that are going to have to go out every day, and they're going to have to be sharp mentally. They're going to have to be good leaders each and every day. They're going to have to do things right on and off the field. And so what that does is, you know, at some point in time in the first week and a half, we'll have to make a decision. But, you know, at the same time, you know, it gives you, you know, confidence knowing going into game 1 that, you know, if the number 1 gets hurt, that you're going to have guys that are ready to go. And so we're looking forward to that competition. I think it's very healthy for a football team. And, you know, with all that said, someone's going to have to step up and win the job.
Now, for a team that relies on the quarterback, it's not always about the quarterback and the option. A lot of it has to do with your skill positions. You talk Newton's Tyler Wood, and I got a chance to watch him in high school. Ooh. Kid's good.
Yes, he is.
Pretty much everything. You know, the kid played baseball here if he wanted to. You know, that's the kind of kid we're talking about. So I understand what you're saying about him and these other guys that you think can also compete for this starting job. But one saving grace that I think all of these guys are going to know is that they're going to have an offensive line that returns everyone from last year as starters. They were a very young underclassmen. This was the exact opposite of what you had the year before, which was nothing but seniors and a great offensive line. You had a 7-4 team running the option with nothing but underclassmen. You come back with those guys. There's got to be some level of confidence with all of your offensive players, knowing that that backbone of your offense is going to be there. What do you hope to see progression-wise from that group?
Well, you hope to see the experience of when something crazy happens in front of them, that they can make the adjustment on the field before they get to the boundary. And that was a little bit of the issue early in the season. You know, we prepared for Missouri Valley one way, and they came out and did something completely different, and we had to make all the adjustments after they came off the field. Well, after week 3, when we got shellacked by Baker, we kind of sat down with those guys and said, look, as hard as these first 3 weeks have been on you and us, you now have seen everything possible that a team can throw at you. So now it's your job to step up and start making the adjustments on your own on the field, communicate with each other, and let's make sure that we're getting things done before anything bad happens. And after that, you know, we win 7 in a row, and that's exactly what happened. Our kids had seen everything. They felt good about everything. So leading into this season, we can prepare our kids everything we see on film, all right? But on Saturdays, against what we do on offense, you never know what you're going to get. But we feel very good about the kids up front. We have 3 juniors and 2 sophomores that are going to be starting this year. You know, last year it was 3 sophomores and 2 freshmen that were starting for us. And so it's just one of those situations where experience means the world. And you know, with those guys having, you know, faced everything under the sun, you know, we're looking forward to them being able to do some of the work on their own.
Coach Todd Hafner, you want to hang around for another segment?
Absolutely.
All right.
I love this.
Coach
Talk
Hafner,
this all night.
We're going to be here for a little bit.
Right.
We're going to come back. Coach Hafner and I will keep talking William Penn as we get set for camp to start in a couple of days when we return on the HyVee Homestretch on the No Coast Network.
It's HyVee's 99-cent back-to-school sale. Get Crayola markers, crayons, or colored pencils, just 99 cents. Elmer's school glue, just 99 cents. Post-it notes, just 99 cents. Sharpies or highlighters, just 99 cents. Pens, pencils, and pencil boxes are just 99 cents. And notebook paper is just 99 cents. Plus, get notebooks for 50 cents, 2 pocket portfolios for 20 cents, and scissors for just 49 cents. Don't miss HyVee's back-to-school sale going on now. If you like to save money and save time, then this is what you'd call a really big deal. HyVeeDeals.com is where you'll find hundreds of deals, all on one mobile-friendly website. HyVeeDeals.com makes saving money easy, with digital coupons, weekly ads, fuel savers, and more. For one-stop savings, start here. Get all the latest deals at HyVeeDeals.com today.
Welcome back. We are live here from your hometown Oskaloosa HyVee. You still have about 45 minutes or so to be able to grab one of these fantastic pulled pork dinners. Only $6 tonight. But if you can't make it out, keep listening to us. It's Simmery Songer along with Todd Hafner, William Penn football coach. And Coach, we left off talking about the offensive line. Now I want to flip sides and go to the defensive side. You did lose a couple of major contributors. You're one of the best cornerbacks, maybe the fastest guy you've ever had, and Antonio Brown is out of there now after graduation. Linebacker, you're going to have to plug some holes. Your nose tackle, you're going to have to plug a hole there, which is very important for a three-man front. So defensively, just kind of as a unit, you still bring back a lot of experienced players, but you have some important holes you need to fill. What are you looking for in camp in terms of those battles? Are there clear front runners, or are you going to have very open competitions for those spots?
Well, at nose and at corner, I mean, those two things are open. Fortunately for us, in the secondary, we were fairly deep last year, and I think if Central Methodist comes to mind. Last year, Antonio missed almost all of the second half of the third quarter into the fourth quarter with cramps and things like that. So we were plugging kids in for him, and so we got some quality experience at that point. Hunter Berry, on the other hand, I mean, as far as true nose tackles, we may never have another one like that. I mean, he was a three-time first-team all-conference. He was as strong as anybody we've ever had, and it's one of those situations where we may have to do it a little bit by committee. Maybe rotate, and play some speed defense to rush the passer a little bit. And that was the good thing about Hunter, is you could leave him in all situations, and he could rush the passer, he could stop the run, he could do all those things. And now we may have to do it with with two people or three people to get the same effect. So I think that it's one of those situations where Clayton and Trevor and the defensive guys have a great plan. They've been working all summer on making sure that we're ready to go week one, and so I feel good about where we're at. We just need to make sure that we get prepared and all of our guys put themselves in the right spot come game day.
There's a lot of depth, especially at places like safety and defensive end. Your edge rushers, and you play that kind of Bronco player.
Yep.
You have plenty of athletes to be able to do that. So those two holes get filled. This defense could also make some noise in a conference that traditionally you have teams that have a hard time scoring points, and you have teams that can throw 70 on the scoreboard. So you have to prepare for all sorts. It's not one style that dominates this conference like you see in certain geographical parts in NAIA ball or even D1 ball. Right. So you got Baker to start things off. Schedule's a little different, but you have the same opponents. It's going to work the exact same way. So knowing these teams now as we go into year 3 of the Heart, Baker being a national championship game qualifier last year, and the defending conference champions, it was your worst game of the season last year. What are your preparations for them specifically for week 1? I know you're not looking at the whole schedule yet, but what are you hoping the kids learn, knowing that it's very possible their toughest opponent of the regular season is on the first day of the season?
Well, the only thing we can do right now is prepare for week 1. We don't, until you get to see everybody on film, you don't really know what they've replaced their players with and who they have, and did their strength change from the offensive side to the defensive side. So really the only thing we can, and I'm not trying to be cliché, I'm just being honest, we haven't seen anything from anybody else yet. So we'll go into week 1. We've been down to Baker, so we have that experience. We're going to change where we stayed. Last time we stayed about an hour from the stadium. This time we're going to stay about 15 minutes. So it's just one of those things where, as coaches, we learn our lessons about different places too. And the dressing room's a little bit small, so we may dress at the hotel and drive to the game. So it's all of those little things that you learn as you go. Hopefully we can, the last 2 years, Baker had a lot to do with it, but it was our worst game both years. We just didn't play well against them at their place. We played not very good against them last year at our place, and I'd like to think that we didn't play well, but they were good. And so in order for us to get a good gauge on where we are, we're going to have to go down there. We're going to have to play well. We're going to have to bring our best effort, and hopefully it's good enough to compete in the game and give ourselves a chance to win when it matters in the fourth quarter. Yeah,
just minor adjustments to the schedule. Baker used to be your 3rd game. Now it's number 1, but you still have Missouri Valley and Mid-Am-Naz right after that. Each of the first 2 years, those are really the 3 best teams on the other side of the Heart of America Athletic Conference,
Right.
you get them out of the way quick, but it doesn't give you a chance to really pick a read on your guys. And as competitive as those games have been, both games against Missouri Valley and Mid-Am-Naz, both years so far, a couple times it worked out for you, a couple times it didn't work out for you. It's going to be really exciting to see how this team starts off. But now you talk about that experience, knowing these teams, knowing the venues a little bit better now that you've made trips to these places after being in a different conference the first 13 years of your coaching career here. Now your coaching staff has a little bit more of an understanding of what it's going to take to win in this conference. For you, you talk peace of mind of the quarterback situation, knowing they have an offensive line that's returning all 5 of their starters. For peace of mind for you now, how much trust have you put into your coaching staff and even your upperclassmen now that they're going to be able to be leaders, because nothing is going to surprise them, whether it's the venue, the opponent, and the style of play?
Well, I mean, in the coaching staff, I'd put our coaching staff up against anybody as far as how close-knit we are. We do a lot of things together. I mean, we play golf together in the spring and the summer. We go to somebody's house after every home game and enjoy victories and taste defeats and things like that. But as far as our players, I think with the group that we have right now, I think that based off of what happened to us last year, losing 3, winning 7, and going through all that, they have a lot of trust, not only in us, but they have a lot of trust in each other, knowing that the guy next to them is going to do the right thing. I think that is a sign of a great college football program. It takes a lot to win games. It takes a lot to win championships. You have to be talented. You have to have a good scheme. But if your kids aren't close-knit and trust each other, it's not going to happen. And we found that out, in 2013 when we went 5-6. We had some good players, and Nick DeMarco and Jake Batterson, those guys come to mind. But the closeness of our team just wasn't there. And so, we learned as coaches from that. I think our players that were on those teams learned and have now taught the kids that we have now that if you're not a good football team and you don't trust each other, it's going to be tough. And because of those lessons they've learned, the last couple years have just been absolutely fantastic.
Well, it's been fun to watch as well, and the entertainment value of a lot of these games, win or lose, has been top-notch. You've a handful, half dozen games a year you guys are playing within one possession, down to the wire, and everybody knows sometimes it comes down to a kick or a punt, something in the special teams. And you guys have a young kicker who's shown that he's got a big leg. There are a lot of good kickers in this conference. What do you think is going to be the role of your special teams, and how important is it to have a kicker like Hunter Beam that you can trust from 50 and out?
Well, it's so important that the second day of practice on Tuesday, we're installing 2 special teams. It's that important. And so if you don't, I think you're missing out. I mean, it's a very important aspect of the game. Having Hunter as our kicker, as our kickoff guy, and having Aaron as our punter. I mean, Aaron's been a first or second team all-conference punter the last 2 years, and so the weapons that we have there, and we have weapons in the return game, and we recruit to those specific areas. Obviously, Hunter's a little bit different because he can win a game from 50, 55, and Aaron can win a game by having 3 or 4 kicks inside the 10 or inside the 5. I mean, that's the weapons that they bring, and so but we put as much emphasis on as anybody I know. And if you're bad in that area of the game, like we weren't very good 2 years ago, it's a difference. It can be the difference in win or loss. And so we've tried to make sure that we've done our part recruiting, and with Hunter and Aaron and some of the return guys that we have, we feel really good about where we're at.
The fun thing about this program now is Grandview starting their program a little later than a lot of these other teams have. William Penn's got a great history and tradition. Grandview, a relatively new football program, but the success that they've had the last 10 years has been remarkable, and it's been just a great natural rival for you guys. Keep them in that last spot, and you two, once again, the coaches of this conference say it's going to be Grandview and William Penn 1 and 2. Which means that last game of the season, as it always seems to, is going to mean an awful lot. How important is it for your program to have a natural rival like that, especially one that you've been able to compete with on a national level in top 10 matchups throughout the last handful of years?
Well, it's not just important to the football team. It's important to the school. It's important to the town. It's important to our alumni. I mean, it's big, and unfortunately, we've been on the bad end of the last 3 years. So we have Right now, the rivalry is theirs. That to them, it may not even be a rivalry anymore. I don't even know, but we're trying like crazy to get that trophy back, and it's important to us that game is the last, and it's important to Coach Woodley too. We talk about that a lot. I don't know why anyone would ever change that game and put it somewhere in the middle of the schedule or leave it where it's at. Let's play for the trophy at the end of the year, probably play for a playoff berth at the end of the year, and we keep hoping each other, we're both 10-0 going into the game. That way, win or lose, we're going. That's what both teams want. But we'll keep working for that. I know they will. They're going to have a great football team. Their staff is second to none, and we'll look forward to that game when it gets here.
Well, first game that you got to worry about is going to be that Baker game, August 26, 1 p.m. on the road. First home game, September 9th, Mid-American Nazarene. You two always put on a show.
Yeah.
That'll be a fun one. Week 3 camp coming up, starting in the next week or so. Coach Todd Hafner, thanks for making some time for us before all the storm comes and hits Oskaloosa here. But can't wait to see what this team looks like on the field, and we'll talk to you again very soon.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
That is Todd Hafner, head football coach, William Penn University. We'll take a break here on the HyVee Homestretch. When we come back, we are going to talk cross country. Oskaloosa cross country coach Mike Comfort will join me after this as the HyVee Homestretch on the No Coast Network.
It's HyVee's 99-cent back-to-school sale. Get Crayola markers, crayons, or colored pencils, just 99 cents. Elmer's school glue, just 99 cents. Post-it notes, just 99 cents. Sharpies or highlighters, just 99 cents. Pens, pencils, and pencil boxes are just 99 cents. And notebook paper is just 99 cents. Plus, get notebooks for 50 cents, 2-pocket portfolios for 20 cents, and scissors for just 49 cents. Don't miss HyVee's back-to-school sale going on now. If you like to save money and save time, then this is what you'd call a really big deal. HyVeeDeals.com is where you'll find hundreds of deals, all on one mobile-friendly website. HyVeeDeals.com makes saving money easy with digital coupons, weekly ads, fuel savers, and more. For one-stop savings, start here. Get all the latest deals at HyVeeDeals.com today.
Welcome back. We are live from your hometown Oskaloosa HyVee. So about a half hour or so you can come get that pulled pork dinner for only $6. But while you wait, you can listen to us talk cross country. Emery Songer now joined by Mike Comfort, Oskaloosa cross country coach. Coach, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, I haven't had a chance to talk to you, but you're busy in the track and field season as well. And running is an important sport for a lot of people in this town. I'm actually doing my first 5K on Saturday, and
Awesome.
I've gotten a little bit of advice from former cross-country runners. Oskaloosa Cross Country has been very good, dangerously close to qualifying as a team to state. So just for folks that are unfamiliar with your program, take us through the last few years and what you've been able to build.
Right, so this will be my 5th year coaching cross country. Before I took over, the girls team has never qualified for state. The boys team qualified back in 1978. So we're the goal was set to qualify for state. And to get to state, you gotta finish the top 3 at the district meet. And the boys have been 4th, 5th, and 4th the 4 years. They missed it by 6 points and 2 points 1 year. The girls have been 4th, 6th, and 5th. So we've just been right there, but it's the best 4-year stretch in school history. Those are the 4 highest finishes for boys and 4 of the top 5 for girls. So I've been happy we've been right there. We've been able to set a firm foundation, and now we're just trying to break through. We've had 12 individual qualifiers in 4 years, which is the same amount as the entire program had previously before I took over. And we've had 5 All-Staters, which again is the same as in the previous history of the program. So had some great kids that just bought into it, and I feel really comfortable with our program, but we want to take it to the next level.
Cross country is one of those sports that you absolutely just, there's not a true off season. You can go and practice or get yourself better at any time of the year, and it's important to improve that time so you take no time off. Talking to Sean Goswish, new cross country coach of William Penn, he says, I'm hoping my kids are running 10 miles a day almost, so for you, do you have summer programs? Because you get a chance to talk to most of these kids during the spring, during track and field, but summer's an important time to try to get these kids ready for the fall.
Absolutely, and in our spring meeting in May, I have different programs I give to the kids depending on their ability levels, and then we have voluntary off-season stuff that the kids can come to. And so if they are able to come to those, and if they follow the plan, they're in shape. And you're right, there is no off-season. You can't take June, July, August off and expect to really improve a whole lot in the season. And the kids that are on our varsity team, the kids that have been to state, those are the kids that have bought in, those are the kids that are getting better. And it's just about taking someone where they're at and slowly progressing them over 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. It's really as simple as that.
Well, trying to make that progression, it's been pretty obvious that kids have made that progression under you. You talk about the All-Staters, you talk about having this stretch in the last 4 years. Well, year 5, you're trying to get over that hump. So you brought back, obviously, a chunk of this team. Take me through some of the kids that are coming back that you have high hopes for that you think will lead you on the girls and the boys side.
Well, I think the boys team is very experienced coming back. We have 7 runners that have had a lot of varsity experience. So we have Carter Heiser, who's a junior. He was a state qualifier last year. We have Jacob Hacker, who's a junior, Talon Munger, Jacob Spears. Those are seniors. Those 4 were varsity all of last year and had a lot of varsity experience from previous years. Those 4, as well as Isaac Schultz, who plays football, were on our 4x8 team that plays 7th at state track. So those 4 have, again, experience. They have state track experience. I really expect them to lead the way. We have 3 other guys. We have Jack Miller and Kyle Shula, who are seniors, as well as Caden Gerard, who's a sophomore. Those guys were varsity for about half the year off and on. So a lot of experience, and those 7 had great summers, and they're looking really strong. We're going to be able to hit it from day 1 and with that team. So really high expectations for the board team, but high expectations every year. So girls side, we graduated a lot, so we have to replace a lot. So we're inexperienced, but I really like the talent and the kids I have on the team. We're going to be led by Lauren Kuhn, who's a junior, but a 2-time state qualifier, and then Aaliyah Cheney, another junior. Those 2, since they've stepped on as freshmen, they've been varsity. So I expect them to be our 1-2 punch this year. And after that, we have a lot of kids. Some have had varsity experience and some have not that we're going to rely on. So some juniors, Leah Wilcox, Grace Versteg, Ellie Snyder, and Kirby Nelson are some runners who have some varsity experience, whether it's 1 meet, 2 meets, or half a season, but we're really expecting them to step up. And I really like our freshman class too, both boys and girls. But it's always tough to tell how they're going to adapt. So I think you got an experienced boys team, you got a girls team that's young and inexperienced. The girls' summer, to be honest with you, was a little below average. Didn't really hit what we wanted to. But I have full confidence they can come in from day 1 and commit. They're going to grow a lot. The girls might take some lumps early on, but I think by the end of the year we'll be a dangerous team.
The team sounds deep by all accounts, even with the girls losing a lot of the experience, including a runner like Sienna DeYoung, who was really a name that people knew on that girls cross country team for the last few years. So now my question for you is, how do you develop that in season? Because you guys do run throughout the week. You obviously have practice on the nights that you're not going to have meets.
Right.
It is not any different than a football team schedule. You practice just as much as they do. What is the practice schedule like, and how do you try to improve times while you're in the midst of the school year?
Awesome. That's a great question. I think there's a misconception in cross country that they just show up and I say, okay, you're going to go run 4 today or 5 today, and then I just sit back and look at the clouds. We have specific things we work on, just like football, basketball. So the first thing we're going to try to progress is their mileage. So they have a weekly mileage they hit. It's different for each kid. Some are going to run 15 miles a week, some are going to run 40. And we just slowly progress that throughout the year, about 10, 12 miles over the course of the year. We have interval days, so that's really developing some speed and some speed endurance. So you're talking about 12 by 400s or 6 by 800s at a certain speed. It's based off their race time, and we're just trying to get them to run just a little bit faster. So we just ramp the intensity up a little bit each week, and the kids know that if they're hitting their times, they're getting better. And then we do something called a Kenyan run, where you do 3 miles continuous, and each mile gets faster. And each week you want to drop your time. So it's what I love about this sport is kids can see each week if they're getting better. If their intervals are getting better, their tempo runs are getting better, if they're running more mileage, we'll lengthen their long runs too as the season goes. They gain that confidence, they're getting better. And so that's kind of a small breakdown of what we do. Really 3 really intense days, 3 a little bit more easy days where we back off. But they're running 6 days a week, some are running 7 days a week.
This program itself, I mean, for somebody like me that never ran cross country, it's a little bit more scientific when you try to make a successful team. But one thing that I do like about it, much like, you know, like a bowling team, you have a very limited number of variables, and you can really hone in on a few of them. So even if you run a little bit slower, you're not going to have a whole lot to blame if you're running the same course. So what kind of terrain do you like to have the kids run? Does that make a difference in the way that they train, or do you like to just try to have them get as much experience on different levels of terrain as possible?
It's a good question. We kind of mix it up. We'll have some days we run on flat, some days we run on hilly courses. Kind of depends on what our next meet is. If it's going to be a flat course, we'll go out to a flat area and run. We run at Edmonton Park, which is probably one of the hilliest courses we run at. I think that gives us just a mental advantage to train on a tough course. But I just like to expose them. I don't think there's really one good alternative, one good terrain. Just expose them as much as they can.
Schedule-wise, you guys are busy, and as much as you like to perform well in all of these meets, you're really just using these as stepping stones to run your best race when district time does come to try to get to that state meet. So how do you kind of approach the meets throughout the season? Because you guys do travel a lot of different places, see a lot of different courses. Are you trying to specifically win all these meets, or are you just trying to see some development from a lot of your runners?
The meet we care about the most is districts, so we'll train through every meet. We don't back off until the week before districts. Our first week we have 2 meets, and pretty much after that it's 1 meet a week. And so we look at the teams that are going to be there. If there's some teams that have been to state, we think are going to be good, then our goal is to focus on and beat those teams. If we get to some meets we think are a little bit easier, which we don't really have too many of those, then we'll focus on winning. But it's just slow, steady progression each week. We want to try to compete with those teams, and if a team beats us, we want to get closer and closer. If we beat them, we want to expand that gap and move on. But we see a lot of teams each week that we're going to see at conference or districts, and so we just kind of gauge how we do against those teams. Really more so than time. I mean, time's important, but the most important thing is beating those teams. That's really our focus each week.
So with that being said, as you guys continue to develop moving towards that district race, there are certain strategies that I've heard different cross-country coaches talk about. You know, when we're in a race, we want a pace setter, but we want 3, 4, 5 people to be running together, and we feel like we have the best chance to accomplish something if everybody can keep together. Are there kind of strategies like that, or are you just trying to get everybody to run their race the best they can?
It's kind of a combination. There's some runners who like to get out hard that first mile. There's some runners that like to hold back. What I tell the kids in a race is, so there's 5 runners that score. So I'll tell a kid what number runner they are on our team. And then I'll tell them if there's a certain team we're trying to beat, I tell them where they're at. So if let's say Jacob Hacker's running, let's say he's our 3 runner, and we're running against a team we want to beat, and that's their 4. Say, hey, you're our 3, that's their 4. We're behind. You need to move up. Or you're our 3, that's their 1. We're doing really well. So I focus on that. I don't really give splits a whole lot. Our managers will do that, but the focus is always on where are we at in relation to that team. So I try to make it simple to them. Because a lot of times in the middle of a race, they're tired. It's tough to pay attention. But just this is where you're at in our team. That's where that person's at, and that gives them an idea of what they need to do.
And that's how you score points, is just a finish position. It's not about how quick you run it. It's all about finishing ahead of your opposition. So I'll get you out of here on this one. This is your 5th year as the head cross-country coach. You've had an opportunity, like you said, to foster an environment with great talent, with multiple all-state qualifiers, even though you haven't quite gone over the hump as a team. How does this team, the 2017 girls and boys, stack up to the other teams that you have? And is this the kind of team on either side that you think can punch through that glass ceiling and make it to state as a squad?
Our expectations are to go to state every year, so it doesn't matter who we have returning. Yeah, both teams have elements. The guys had a lot better summer than the girls, so in that respect, you could say that the guys have a better shot. But it really comes down to how well you work the whole season. It comes down to who you get paired up at districts. When we're in the toughest part of the state, our conference is the toughest. We have the toughest district, but. Yeah, expectations are to stay. I think both teams can. It's really up to them now when practice starts Monday to put in the work. Our theme this year is prepare. And I think a lot of people talk about, you got to want it, you got to believe in it. Well, I think that's misguided. I think everybody wants it. but to really be successful, you got to prepare, and you got to put in the preparation worthy of your goals. So on August 7th, our goal is to prepare and put in our best preparation every day up until our district meet.
Well, my comfort, I'm excited to see how this team does. The boys really sound like they're going to be a team to be reckoned with. And on the girls' side, we'll see how these younger runners and these inexperienced runners can develop throughout the season. Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll check back in later on the season.
Thanks for having me.
That is Mike Comfort, the cross-country coach here at Oskaloosa High School. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll talk football once again. Back on the gridiron, Eddyville-Blacksburg Fremont head football coach Brian Keeler will join us right after this on the HyVee Homestretch on the No Coast Network.
It's HyVee's 99-cent back-to-school sale. Get Crayola markers, crayons, or colored pencils, just 99 cents. Elmer's school glue, just 99 cents. Post-it notes, just 99 cents. Sharpies or highlighters, just 99 cents. Pens, pencils, and pencil boxes are just 99 cents. And notebook paper is just 99 cents. Plus, get notebooks for 50 cents. 2-pocket portfolios for 20 cents, and scissors for just 49 cents. Don't miss HyVee's back-to-school sale going on now. If you like to save money and save time, then this is what you'd call a really big deal. HyVeeDeals.com is where you'll find hundreds of deals, all on one mobile-friendly website. HyVeeDeals.com makes saving money easy, with digital coupons, weekly ads, fuel savers, and more. For one-stop savings, start here. Get all the latest deals at HyVeeDeals.com today.
Back one final time here live from your hometown Oskaloosa HyVee. Emery Songer with you, and my final guest of the evening is the football coach at Eddyville-Blacksburg Fremont High School, Brian Keeler. Coach, thanks so much for joining us.
Hey, no problem.
Okay, so I've had you on a few times. We've talked about your football team. Now we're getting in that spot where we're getting on the field. Camp's about to start. You're going to try to get this team a little bit better than that 3-6 team that we saw last year.
Oh, yes.
And you have the horses coming back that are going to be making a big difference. So right now, let's just ask, how did the summer feel to you in your preparation? I know you probably were keeping an eye on some of your athletes as well. How does it feel right now with the progression you hope the kids have made in the offseason?
This off season, this summer, past summer, we had a good turnout. We were probably 75% of our football team was in the weight room. We battled that with baseball, which I knew that was going to go happen. But a lot of those kids would get done with the game that night and come in the next morning and lift, and that's, my hat's off to them on that. I was real proud of that. Those kids show dedication in the weight room, and it's building our team a lot better with that.
We talk about Oskaloosa kind of, they really struggled in sports, almost every sport, for a long time. In the last couple of years, you see the blossoming. The softball program wins a state championship. The track and field teams are looking really strong. Football team's back at it. The basketball team really coming around. Eddyville-Blacksburg Fremont, low-key, has had a really good last 12 months. The football team 3-6, but a lot of underclassmen that were starting for this team, and we'll get to the specifics on those guys. But the boys basketball team, the girls basketball team, both successful years. Baseball team had a nice year under a new head coach. Of course, Coach Fenton and his softball girls back in the state championship game. Your program trying to get back into that mix as well, and like we talked about, you have the players to do that. So what's the environment with AD Kurt Johnston and the rest of the coaches knowing that EBF is really a premier program in Southeast Iowa right now?
Like you said, we try to keep low key. We're just, a little dot on the map, but, the girls went to softball, and that was awesome. That kind of shows where we are at and what their program is doing, and those girls being dedicated also in the weight room. The basketball team, both sides have done a great job. Gladys Jensko and her volleyball team. So, it's, Kurt's real happy about where everybody's going. Football team was 3-6 last year, and, he wants us to do well. So, the pressure's there, but I think the kids are excited about this season and knowing, hey, we can come up and do something.
You're in Class 2A, and you're in a district that is, last year it was kind of a wild card district. Didn't really know what was going to happen, especially Albee lost a ton. We saw that. PCM had a great season.
Oh, yes.
But beyond them, teams like Sheraton, who you beat, Davis County, who you beat, Central Lee, kind of surprised with how good they were, but they lost quite a bit as well. Clark and Centerville, who is another wild card team. Realistically, this district, there's not a legitimate team that, PCM obviously should be the favorite coming in, but everybody else can beat each other, and two of these teams for sure get into the playoffs. You guys have to feel like that's within your grasp this year. So what is your approach with these guys, especially knowing so many of them are back from last year?
with the season and what we're doing, like you said, PCM is going to be on top. A lot of those teams are starting over with, Albia's starting over with new head coaches, so is Central Lee. So it's going to be nice, because they're not going to see our scheme yet. So, we're going to be in the mid hunt. I think our guys feel like, hey, we can make a run. We made a run against Central Lee there, we came up short. Made a run against Centerville and came up short, but those guys lost a lot of the players, and like you said, we bring back a lot of our power. So, and a lot of our horses are coming back. So the kids are excited to make this run right now. So we're really, really excited.
I got some of the important offensive statistics, and your team for most of the season, outside of a couple of games, really had a hard time scoring points. But you look, Trey Moore was a sophomore and was your quarterback this year. He's just a good all-around athlete. Obviously, you want him to be a little bit more efficient, but you look at the rushing numbers of anybody who touched the football in the running game, there's one that was a senior. You look at your receiving numbers, a whole 4 receptions were caught by seniors. Everything else was a player that you have coming back. This has to feel good for you knowing these guys are back, but how are you trying to improve these guys so Trey Moore goes out there, feels a little bit more confident, doesn't have to worry about, throwing only 1 touchdown and having 7 interceptions?
With that, we had 2 weeks ago, we had just a quarterbacks and O-lineman, D-line camp where, I was able to work more one-on-one with Trey and the younger quarterbacks on how to read and the footwork and the techniques that we did. Last year, I kind of felt like I rushed him. I rushed him in, just footwork and technique. With this camp that we did, it was only a 3-day camp, but he was able to watch film, we'll go out and correct, and he was making a lot more improvements, and he was making a lot better reads, because last week was our full varsity camp, and he was just making reads so much better and so much faster. Even in the pass game, he was identifying the safeties and where this coverage was. So he was doing a great job of that. So and it's helped, and our younger guys are getting touches on the ball now. The young running backs are really loving what they're doing. So.
Well, we talk about running. Trey Moore ran it over 130 times last year just from that position. You guys only throw it about 10 times a game. You really rely on having athletes that can do things with the ball in their hands, not necessarily trying to throw it through the air. It's good to have that, but when you have your quarterback averaging almost 7 yards a carry and scoring 13 times as a sophomore, you know that the kid is a gifted runner. And these defenses, I haven't seen the 2017 incarnations of these teams, but I would venture to say the defenses will not be stronger that you're going to be facing. What do you see from him when he's got the ball in his hands?
But he's just a playmaker. He looks like I would say like a little Michael Vick, I'd say, because he pulls that ball down and it's just like, oh no, what's he going to do? But then it's just like he makes 1 or 2 cuts and makes 2 guys miss, and next thing he's off to the races. And he has such great vision of the field and kind of sees where guys are coming from that he can just stop on a dime and go. And like you said, he's an athletic kid, and yes, I want the ball in his hands and at certain points, but when he does take off and run, it's like, what's he going to do? It's amazing.
Well, you look at the rest of the team that's coming back, your top 4 rushers in terms of average. Dylan Howard ran over 5 yards a carry. Dakota Boyer 5 yards a carry. Ryan Adams 8 yards a carry. He only ran it 12 times, but that's an impressive number. These guys are finding holes, and that helps because you obviously have a line and a scheme that gives them a little bit of space to work with. For you, when you go into this season, you want to clean up these turnover problems, but if you can clean that up, you have to feel very confident in your scheme. Is there going to be any kind of adjustments with that going into this year, or is it one of those things where you're just going to kind of feel it out the first couple of weeks and see what works, and then maybe that'll stick for the rest of the season?
The only thing that we've added is a couple different formations. It's just to isolate our tight end a little bit more. Gabe Larkin, who's our tight end, is a 6'6" basketball player, but he can go up and he's a physical kid. And I was been looking at a lot of formations and got in contact with the coach, and he said, hey, why don't you use this formation? This isolates your tight end, and it's a good formation. So I put that in, and Gabe's loving it right now because he knows he's going to get the ball thrown to him, and Trey can put it up there and get it to him. But with Dylan Howard, like you said, 5 yards a carry. We graduated our offensive line, but with our scheme of blocking, the kids picked it up from the JV, and they're just, again, we're fine-tuning everything. We're just fine-tuning. We're working more on our technique, working on our steps, working on calling out our blocks, and it's been nice because the kids from JV are now filling those holes, and it's just like, oh, we know the verbiage, we know everything, we're not changed anything, so they're just moving right on. And we're into practice right now because we have a week 0 game. So, you know, we're all excited and the pressure's on there, but, you know, they're all, hey, coach, it's easy. We got this, you know. So that's what I'm happy about.
Well, the quick start is going to be interesting because you and I think maybe one other team in our listening are the only ones that play on week 0 before we even get that first full week of school going. So with that being said, though, receiving-wise, you mentioned Gabe Larkin, who is just, I mean, he is tight end-esque. He's a big target, very good athlete. But Wyatt Klein had a good year last year as well. He's coming back. And what do you see from him, and how do you try to integrate some of these other receivers into the game, especially knowing that you're trying to improve the efficiency of your passing game this year?
Wyatt Klein, he's that silent kid that will just go out there and he'll catch the ball. I mean, there's a couple catches that I saw that he made on the sideline that, you know, he'd get that 1 foot down, 2 feet down, and just tap it, and it's just like, you know, that's a college or pro play right there. And you watch it, and it's just amazing. We're going to target Wyatt a little bit more. We're going to try to isolate him one-on-one situations to where we can get him the ball and we can use his speed. And he's crafty with his steps and with his movement. You know, he might not look like the fastest kid, but he have wheels and he can run. So I'm really looking forward to getting him the ball. You know, whether it's deep or short. You know, if we have to dunk it and pull everybody up and then let him run deep, that's what we might have to do.
You talk about fine-tuning. You talk about a week 0 game, but your other 2 non-district games, talk about this district wide open. You are playing 2 of the best 1A schools in our listening area with Sigourney Keota and Pleasantville, who won big against you guys last year with your young team, but they won big on a lot of people last year. They have had a nice run of success the last few years, both of those programs. It doesn't, much like I was talking to Coach Todd Hafner or William Penn earlier, he maybe has 3 of his toughest opponents weeks 1, 2, and 3. He doesn't have a whole lot of opportunity to just kind of try some things out and see where kids go. Thrown into the fire against good teams immediately. What are you hoping to see from your kids, and how much fine-tuning do you hope to have done with this week 0 game, especially getting a chance to have a trial run before you see 2 very good opponents before the district play starts?
Well, what this week 0 game is going to help us with is one, you know, do we need to move a kid? If we need to move a kid from one spot to another, or if a kid goes down, hey, we can get this other kid ready before we go into those 2 non-district opponents that are really tough. But if we need to scheme something different, we want to use it, you know, just kind of be bland and hide our, you know, a formation that we don't want to show. We just want to stay one formation maybe, and say, hey, you know, we haven't shown these other two formations. So. But, you know, Sigourney Keota and Pleasantville, like you said, are great teams. You know, we're looking forward to going at them because we know where they're at. You know, they have a pretty good record, and we want to be there. And that's where I think the kids want to be. They want to, you know, be able to stay tight with those guys and, you know, get a win. And, you know, that week 0 game, you know, there's no scrimmage. There's nothing. It's game speed, you know, live and ready to go. And that's what I try to tell the kids, you know, we're not scrimmaging. There's no us coaches standing in the back, hey, this is what you did wrong. You know, it's live, it's full go. So, you know, the kids are kind of excited, but they're also kind of nervous. So, but we'll see how it goes.
Picking up a 10th game, that's a good opportunity for a lot of teams, but a lot of teams are just, please, no, don't give us that 10th game, you know, kind of thing. With this team and the teams that you know that you're playing, you're familiar now with all the opponents you're playing outside of your week 0 game. When you get into the district and everything, you guys within the district only once held opponents under 20 points. Defensively, what are you going to try to do to try to not allow, because obviously the PCM and Central Lee offenses were really powerful last year. What are you trying to do defensively to try to keep opponents around closer to 15 to 20 points a game to allow your offense a better opportunity to win some of these games?
You know, we look back as a coaching staff on the season, and we were like, how did we give up all these points? And, you know, yes, you look at poor tackling. So, you know, we concentrate, you know, on some different tackling drills that we're going to do. And we're going to go to what the Seattle Seahawks do tackling-wise is, you know, a different type of tackling. It's not going to be old school tackling. So we've incorporated that. We also incorporated, you know, we didn't have that many turnovers. We didn't force that many turnovers. So again, another big focus was, hey, we're going to try to force turnovers. We're going to try to force the issue with stripping the ball or interceptions or getting pressure on the quarterback so the quarterback feels hurried. And those were 3 big key areas I would say that we're going to focus on defensively. And the kids, you know, even wrote down on some of their goal sheets, hey, we need to focus more on defense. We need to focus more on turnovers. So, and that's real cool when kids are saying that to you because they know they're bought into the program. They want to do better.
Well, Coach Brian Keeler, it's going to be fun to see these Rockets and how they progress. Excited to see. I know we have EBF on our slate for the game of the week coming up this year. Congratulations, and can't wait to talk to you mid-season.
Thank you.
All right, that's Brian Keeler. He is the head football coach at Eddyville, Blacksburg, Fremont, and that'll do it for our show at the HyVee Homestretch here tonight. Thanks to Coach Keeler, of course, Coach Comfort for our cross country at Oskaloosa High School, and Coach Todd Hafner, Wellington University football. We'll have a fresh show for you next Thursday, 6 p.m. live right here from your hometown, Oskaloosa HyVee. Do not miss it. For our director, Titus Ledstring, for Michael Everton back in the No Coast Network studios, I'm Emery Songer signing off for the HyVee Homestretch on the No Coast Network.